Now to get some perspective on the ongoing football season, we bring in our very own Jeff Rhodes to talk a little LSU football first. We'll get to the NFL in just a minute. Jeff, it was a kind of rocky quarterback play in Vanderbilt for Jordan Jefferson. Who do you like going into the Mississippi State game, Jarrett Lee or Jordan Jefferson?
Well, I think Jefferson's going to start, but I think he's going to be on a very short leash because he didn't play very well. And if he played like he did against Vanderbilt, he won't be in for very long. I mean, he only completed 40% of his passes, and he threw an interception in the end zone. Those aren't things you want to see from your starting quarterback. His passes never really seemed to hit the receiver in stride. They ended up putting Lee in at the end of the game, but he mainly just handed the ball off to the running backs. We all remember what Lee has done. He may have thrown a few interceptions, but he moved the offense his freshman year. Right now, the Tigers are ranked 107th in passing yardage, so if Jefferson doesn't step up and move the offense, I think we will see Jarrett Lee in there.
Yeah, I think a short leash is the best way to put it, but Miles is always going to have Jordan Jefferson's back. He did in the Monday press conference. But now moving to the NFL, as a proud New Orleanian, I'm glad to say this. How about them Saints, Jeff?
How about them? It's hard to believe this, but the first thing I'm going to talk about is their defense.
Yeah.
They kept the Vikings in check for most of the game, and they never allowed the Vikings to really get into a rhythm offensively. The Vikings had just that one touchdown drive and not much else. Even though they didn't hit Favre as often as they did in the NFC Championship game, he still never looked comfortable, and he even threw a pick. They didn't allow Adrian Peterson to get going, which also limited the Vikings' offense. The Saints' offense was limited to 14 points, but they still looked good. Drew Brees is still looking as efficient as ever, and the Saints were able to use their running game in the second half. They only converted 3 of 11 third down attempts, so they still have to improve on that. It was a good opener, but they can still improve.
Yeah, Jeff, of all things the Saints fans should worry about, offense is not going to be one of them at all. But other teams played in the first week of the season. Other big impressions you got from around the league?
How about them Texans? Yeah, I mean, I was watching that game, and the thing that stood out to me the most was how they just beat down the Indianapolis Colts. Going into the game, the Texans were just 1-15 against the Colts, and they jumped out to a 17-point lead in the fourth quarter against the Colts, and they've done this before in previous years, but they were never able to finish it off. I mean, they finished it out this time because of their running game. Arian Foster just went crazy. He had 231 rushing yards with 191 of those in the second half. Mario Williams kept Peyton Manning from getting comfortable in the pocket with 1 sack and hitting him 5 times. By finally beating the Colts, I think the Texans have finally taken the next step as a franchise and maybe be looking to turn the corner and maybe jump into the playoffs this year.
I wouldn't mind. I'm all for the Texans, but give Andre Johnson the ball. I got him on my fantasy team. I need some stats from Jeff. Thanks for joining us.
I got Arian Foster, baby.
Thanks for joining us, man.